Good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this video. My name's Justin Latham, and I'm pretty excited to start our history class and the video presentations and stuff like that. As a means of introduction, what I'm going to talk about today is the Freedom Trail, which is located in Boston, Massachusetts. It is a 2.5 mile red path through downtown Boston. It leads to 16 significant historical sites. Now it's important to note that these sites are not all the historical sites in Boston. They are not every major historical site, and most importantly, they're not every major Revolutionary era history site. So there's a little bit of controversy with that, but basically it's pretty awesome. It was established in 1951. Obviously, the Boston National Historical Parks Department had a lot to do with it, and obviously the Freedom Trail Committee. Basically, what's on the trail are 16 locations, and it basically starts at the Boston Common and it goes down through. Starts at Boston Common, Massachusetts State House, Park Street Church, the Granary Burying Ground, King's Chapel, and the King's Chapel Burial Ground. Benjamin Franklin statue. This is important because it's also the former site of the first public school, which was the Boston Latin School. And obviously Benjamin Franklin is one of probably the most important founding father that was not a president. I mean, you see the significance today, $100 bill. The only person that's on a U.S. currency that is not a president, besides Sacagawea. So we'll go there. Continuing on the route, the old corner bookstore, the old South Meeting House, the old State House, and one of the most important things, I think, is the site of the Boston Massacre. This is where the revolution started. Not started, but this is where you get the ideas of revolution. This is where you get the first sensationalism journalism. This is where you get that idea of, hey, they're doing stuff that they should not be doing. So I think that's really important. I think that's the most important thing that's on the trail. Continuing on there, the Finelli House, the Paul Revere House, Old North Church, Cobb's Hill Burying Ground, Bunker Hill Monument, and finally the USS Constitution. Obviously, it's a ship, not the actual Constitution. Now you'll notice that there's some things on here or some things that aren't on there, such as Boston Harbor, where the Boston Tea Party famously was. It's important because this is, like I noted before, it's a bit of controversy because, yes, these 16 sites are important, but why aren't other sites included in there? And as was noted in the reading, there's definitely ways to improve, according to the author, improve the Freedom Trail. Whether you agree with the sites that are there. The sites that are there are awesome. They are definitely something that any historian who is teaching would want to bring his class to, or her class to. And because of that, this would be very ideal because you take kids, you could take your students, you could take, I mean, if you want to make it a family trip, but in terms of relating it to education, you can take your students to Boston, and you can go on the trail. And from that, you can go and, once you're there, you see the important things, and you can make it an assignment when they get back to the classroom. You can make it so, well, what things on here would you kind of take away from, or what would you take out of this trail, and what would you add? Would you add a place like where the Boston Tea Party was? Would you add other locations? Would you add locations that are more historically known, or would you want to add locations that don't have a lot of historical prominence, and stuff like that? So in terms of how you could interact with the classroom or how you can make it a field trip, it's very, very interesting concept. I mean, for me personally, I probably wouldn't be able to do that because I live in New Jersey. So taking a class up to Boston probably wouldn't really go over well, but something they can think about. So just real quick, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that there's stuff on the Freedom Trail that should be there, shouldn't be there? And what do you think of the idea? Thanks. God bless.